Good afternoon, June. Thank you so much for your time today. Maybe could you please introduce yourself a little bit?
First of all, thank you for inviting me here. So I'm Jun Hasegawa. I'm 120% Japanese. Back in 2013, I found that this Omise group is now I'm a founder and a group CEO of Omise Holdings. And Omise Holdings is the global holding company that invest and also own the company that deliver fintech solutions and then product to the client around the world. As I mentioned, back in 2013, I founded Omise, and then the first of all, we are started as e-commerce, but we found the pain point, which was payment. So I and co-founder founded Omise Payment. Omise Payment is a payment processing and then payment gateway service in Southeast Asia. And also back in 2017, we founded Omise Go, the blockchain company. It's an innovative instant peer-to-peer open permissionless blockchain network. It's called OMG network. That's a whole the company structures and about my work.
The COVID-19 and many SMEs and startups have been hard hit and suffering a lot. So How are you holding up in this pandemic?
It's not just me. I think that everyone is tougher with this entire situations, especially since back the February. We've seen how this COVID-19 spread all over the place and impact our daily lives, economy, and then politics. And also we've seen a lot of the domino effect in the different industries, especially travel industry, airlines, the hotel businesses, all the hospitality, the businesses is suffer a lot because of people have to the stay, the home, and it's not really traveling around. And then also we've seen some the gas, the oils, the demand is decreased significantly. Those are affected to the world differently. But on the other hand, as people starting really recognize how much they have to rely on the internet. And this internet economy, the people realize the importance of all the services around the internet and how to utilizing those services to maintain their daily lives, even though they have limited access to the outside. So is that something we ourselves is try to fight for it.
Many people are practicing a social distancing, and they work from home and they try not to come out often. So as a company, what kinds of measures are you taking? How are you managing your staff now?
The Sony tech companies try to adapt in these situations, and we ourselves there are a lot of the major Omise Holdings has put in place to protect our employees and mitigating any the risk. And continue to strive during challenging times. So the teams are working really hard it's working around and going around to protecting our employees. And then we have our own internal the COVID site to updating all the situations and then notify all employees how they should protecting themselves and etc. We are really fortunate and lucky to be because we are a remote ready company. Since the beginning, when we started the company, we allow people to doing the remote work, flex time, implemented a lot of different tools to supporting this work from home, basically. So to adopting this, the remote work, it wasn't hard for us to adopt. And when you're looking at the even our company structure, we already have the big diversify. The headquarter, the operational headquarter in the Bangkok, the Thailand, but the Omise Payment has people in Japan, Singapore, the Indonesia, and Omise Go is actually they have a people that spread all over the place. For example, like Australia, Ukraine, Spain, like Ireland, US, and then Poland. So we have a lot of different time zone. We have the system in place to communicating each other, such as like Slack, video calls, and we have a lot of like different collaborative tools, the Confluence, the Milo, the Jira, GitHub, Fabricators, etc. So those remote work, the tools, they're helping us to communicating really well with each other despite this situation.
This COVID-19 pandemic must be interrupting your work so much because just like any other companies and like Zoom or cybersecurity companies are actually, I heard, and they're booming. That your company is IT, a blockchain-based company, and you are like a fintech company. People might think that your business is not hit hard as much as other companies actually.
I couldn't say like, zero impact, right? It's everyone's got an impact, and then we ourselves got an impact as well. Fortunately, our business is an infrastructure business, especially like financial infrastructures is required to maintain the people's daily life with these situations. So the people more that rely on internet services means there's a demand for online payment solutions. We ourselves diversify our customer base as well, like some industries, travel industries. And then, yes, of course, like we got a huge impact and see a lot of like decreasing, like significant, like decreasing by that industry. But on the other hand, like food delivery or some other like e-commerce and also the insurance sectors, some other and then also mobile carrier. Those like the internet, like the segment, the growing it's really well. So those the spikes actually supporting this the losses. So we are fortunately like still this could survive, but at the same time we also need to be very cautious about like the spending and also try to find it's more demand where's the basically like the blue ocean for us to step in and the mitigating the risk and implications for our businesses.
Since your company is a fintech company, there are two flips of a coin. It's like on the one side, because you are already kind of a digital company, so maybe this is the best opportunity for you to even grow more. On the other hand, since, as you said, your business is based upon the fintech, payment, right? Especially, then if you have less companies actually using your services because they are out of business because of the COVID-19, and then it's not a really good in terms of. I feel like, but still, it maybe just temporarily. But since many companies might go like a digital after this COVID-19, maybe this is the kind of a business opportunity for you, even grow further.
I think that David, you got a good point. I think we also think after the COVID-19 situations, people are definitely like the realize this like entire like a digital shift. Before it's it's just a want, right? It's the technology. It's just a want. It's good to have it. But now as people realize that's needed and time to build. And recently the A16Z, the Anderson Horowitz, also the releasing the really good article about like time to build. So that also is a mention about it. So it's so many like the industries, it's realized the movement, even like it's a massive conglomerate or mega enterprises, the legacy, like the companies also realize digital transformation needs. So that's a definitely like good opportunity for us.
I know that you're very capable, that I know you're very talented and smart and visionary, but then also many people who are also talented and smart and capable who actually would like to prefer to stay in a comfort zone, or like, for example, working for Apple, Google, Amazon, and all those like big companies like a Toyota. What makes you, I mean, decide to be an entrepreneur? Because it's not an easy way actually. Because you wake up in the morning, then you have to think about how you're going to do your business all the time, and it's not like you can just go in and stay in your comfort zone and getting the salary. There must be some turning point in your life that you decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to have my own company. I want to deliver some value to the society.
It's a little bit personal, but all the like the families, including my the grandpa's family, they all owns their own business, right? Like the crazy, the people, as a little bit crazy people.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not really. I cannot like specify the name, but it's my grandpa's family. It's actually started 2 universities in Japan, and also my parents, also my dad and the mom, both has a different businesses, and they're both the CEO.
Wow.
And for me, it's kind of natural to starting my own. Also, the one another like my problem is like I never employed, so I have no brave to working for someone. Also, I have a really good the co-founder. We've been friends it's more than 20 years. He's a Thai Kiwi, and he used to live in Japan too. So he's speaking the Japanese. When he back to Thailand, he's told me that like, why don't I just move to Thailand and change my like the circumstances and challenge new things. And that's a trigger me to move here back in end of 2012, I think. Yeah, that's how I started this.
As an entrepreneur, whenever you are faced with this kind of hardship and difficult time, actually COVID-19 is also, the economic recession is coming, is even worse than the Great Depression 1929. So you're faced with this kind of difficult situation, difficult time. And how are you dealing with this kind of challenging time?
I really struggle. I think every like the entrepreneur and then the people is kind of same. It's not just the entrepreneur. Everyone's the suffer with these situations. It's not just the COVID, the situations. Maybe in the futures we have maybe much larger tribulations we have to face. But easy to say, like don't giving up. It's cheap hustling, right? But in the reality, you have to maintain the mentality and your mental health and then your physical health too. Your life, it's a once in a lifetime, and you can make your own decision. Unless you're hurt someone, no one's killing you, or you're not gonna die, at least. So the try and achieve. And then feel it, and that like the satisfaction and an achievement that gives you is more confident to step one step more farther. And if you take one step and you feel like you want to take another 2 steps, so this like it's the cycle is gives you more confidence, and then that's a call maybe the persistence. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I'm still struggle, so I'm kind of same with everyone.
You are more like a positive style, or you just never get tired, even though you get tired, but still can just move forward no matter what?
Yeah.
You kind of, let's just say, can you describe yourself as a goal-oriented person?
Yes, I believe as a tangible, the stuff. It's the people easily like to speak out like intangible like the stuff and then put it in it's a very good way, but I myself it's want to deliver something tangible to the people, and because we said our strong foundations are the product and then the quality. So I myself also every day want to deliver something and then achieve something. So I can feel like I did something worth.
COVID-19 is doing so many things. It's not only about the virus, it's more about changing our lifestyle and work style. It just brought us so many changes already. I just remember just 2 months ago, if somebody asked me, "Now, David, why don't you just have a video conference instead of going on a business trip, let's say to Thailand or Indonesia?" Then I would say, no. I think it's a lot better if I meet people face to face and person to person. There's a human touch. But then now I realized that just about 2 months later, and I realized I'm so accustomed, used to, and familiar with using all this video conference and everything in digital. So when you see this situation, some people say that, after this crisis, we might go back to the old normal, and then we will recover, and all these digital transformation, digital, this kind of a platform or all this experience will just go away because we prefer to meet people in person. But what is your take on that?
I don't think the people's going back to normal life anymore. Because, for example, David, do you feel you want to touch things around, or the wallet, also the cash? It's not really feel like it's safe, right?
Yes.
And then you're starting thinking like maybe this is a node or the coin, the token has the jams, the viruses, right? So that's kind of like it's embedded to the people's subconscious. This kind of like the thinking. I have it's very specific, like the financial, the perspective, because like it's my business is the fintech businesses, right? So for example, like cashless is people like screaming out, let's go with cashless and etc. But it's the adoption rate is not that great because people feel like cash still safe, especially like in Japan, right? People never leave the cash. So it's now the people realize this need to shift to the cashless, and that's much more the safer. I can feel that like the people is going to ditch their traditional wallet and moving into like smartphone, the digital wallet. Same as like China, right? Alipay, WeChat Pay, and then also even like the Africa is they adopting the M-Pesa as a new digital currency, right? The Japan Central Bank and then the Europe is they cooperate with the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. That also a lot of demand. There's news, Japan putting 1 trillion stimulate the economy, but how are they going to distributing those money, right? And no one can track, no one can distributing it's a one day. But with the new technology like the blockchain, individually the people can own their like kind of IP address. It's a very secure IP address and then decentralized address. So it's actually your own wallet, and then only you can access to it. It's the banks or it's any like centralized party can access to it. So it's those like solution was digitized the cash. You can distribute straight instantly, like distributing the money the peer-to-peer way. And then also people can track all the record, and none of people are able to manipulating any data. So those like secure, instant, new financial infrastructures, a new way of distributing the values. It's kind of new internet. It's a require for this society, and the people already realized of this demand. So I don't think it's going to be back as a normal anymore. And then also Japan's, it's today's news, right? They really government is starting thinking about like Japanese like traditional stamp. People's commuting for like getting the stamp, and then putting themselves in the danger, right?
After this COVID-19, we will go into new normal, and then we will never go back to the old normal, and that's the reality. Because and all this digital experience actually kind of prepares people to be like a more like they go for like a digital society. but they were just hesitant because they couldn't just break with the past and conventional method and way of life. And now they're kind of forced to do so. And then this experience will stay with them forever. And then they will contribute to the many companies actually going more digital organizations, right? So after this COVID-19, as you know, is an infection and contagion actually is highly likely. So if people try not to touch anything, and because of that, do you feel that your like a payment system, because it's non-contact, so maybe you can see some rise in that?
Yes, we also are supporting a lot of like different wallet services and also the carrier payment as an infrastructure provider. And we see a lot of growth and people are actually adopting the new kind of society and a new way of transact the value. It's rapidly. So I definitely like, I'm really confident the trend is a rise.
Let's just say that you are a very great entrepreneur, but still you are a human being. I would like to call you Iron Man. But even Iron Man needs some rest, right? So, I mean, we need some time to rejuvenate yourself, refresh yourself.
I think everyone has like their own style to the relief and as get some remedy, right? So I knew, well, like David, you're exercise a lot. And I myself too. So especially like the morning, recently I started the 15 minutes, very like the core training, intense like the training, right? And then after like I do some like short meditating and also I reading the book and also brew the coffee. And also listen to music and thinking like I'm trying to like it's really spend time to think there recently because the before is read and finished. It's just the informations, but it's not really utilizing the informations as the knowledge, right? So I'm trying to let information to become a knowledge to supporting as me and then supporting my mental health and then also the physical health. I have a big golden retriever, is now 37 kilogram. It's quite large. And also I have 2 cats. Those pets, it's a different thing. So one of my good remedy. And then also I have to take them out for walk around 3 times a day. So those it's definitely help me to maintain myself.
If you have any advice, because as an entrepreneur, as a chairman, actually over the 2 companies, and you must have some good advice for those entrepreneurs, startups, SMEs actually are suffering at the moment.
We cannot solve the COVID by ourselves, so we have to wait. What we can do is maybe revisit whatever we build and the rethink what is the actual value and how we need to adopt in these situations. And we have to move really fast, twice fast, and then 50% with the 50% of the cost. So that's the kind of situations. But we as a human being, we were and we are surviving all the historical like tribulation, and we able to survive until now. So there's always way. Keep moving. Don't let the COVID win. We don't have to compete each other now. What we need to compete is the COVID. So let's working together. Sorry.
No, that's good. It's good. That's very good. I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable insight. And it's going to be very helpful to all those SMEs and startup companies and entrepreneurs out there. Okay? Thank you. So today I invited one founder and CEO of a startup company in Indonesia. The name of the company is Geekhunter. And Ratri Iswari. She's the director of a Grind Bandung and also initiator of a Startup Bandung. And it's a kind of core element in Indonesia's startup ecosystem. And then she's the mentor in the Greater Hub Startup Accelerator of ITB and National 1000 Digital Startups Movement. So, Ken, thank you very much for your time today. Could you share what's going on in Indonesia at the moment as a start company?
Okay, hi David, hi everyone. So in Indonesia, right now business in different economic sectors, of course, have been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. Even the value of the Indonesia Composite Stock Index and the rupiah has declined. And according to Kata Data, there are 2.8 million workers that had been affected, including 1.7 million formal workers furlough, 794,000 formal workers that get laid off, and 282,000 informal workers out of job, and also 100,000 migrant workers return to their place of origin. And that what happened is those affected included ICT workers, which I'm always working with. Although, like the World Economic Forum reported that Indonesia actually need 9 million more ICT specialists by 2030. But right now, there are a lot of ICT talent that are losing their job and looking for opportunities.
So as a CEO of a IT recruitment consultancy firm, so if you see that IT developers and IT people are looking for jobs and the company is actually not looking for asking you that, oh, can I find some IT workers because I need them? Do you hear it lately often or?
First month, like this month on April, most of the tech companies start to postpone their hiring. Before, all the tech companies are always keep hiring and keep looking for ICT talent. So now it's a bit different. So right now what we have to do is we need to pivot a bit of our business model as well. And we are not doing a national lockdown, but 18 regions, including Jakarta, the capital city, right now are under partial lockdown and also under large-scale social restriction measures. And just recently, on April 21st, the President, Joko Widodo, just announced a travel ban during Ramadan, because this is the time when millions of Indonesians that live in urban centers usually will return to their hometown. And all the public transportation in bus, commercial flight, marine transport, and long-distance train trip are banned until June.
There are many startup companies and SMEs actually hard hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Which sectors are hard hit?
The sector that most affected are tourism and leisure, aviation, transportation, also food and beverage, retail, and peer-to-peer lending. But again, like Indonesia is the biggest market in Southeast Asia because we have a large population of 267.7 million. And also we have around 175 million internet users. And in the startup scene, right now what happened is there is a significant decrease in investment for startup because a lot of investors cancel investment by citing force majeure clause. And hard-hit startups are trying to survive, include those that I mentioned, by doing several actions such as becoming more efficient, cutting their budget for expansion, for marketing, and for recruitment, and deferring religious festive bonus, and also do furlough and layoff with or without severance package.
I think it's not only confined to Indonesia, because many other countries also, I think the similar sectors are hard hit.
Sure. So for tourism and leisure, the Indonesian Travel Agency Association already record an almost 90% drop in sales due to cancellation as of March 12th. And one of our unicorn, Traveloka, had to cut about 10% of its workforce due to travel cancellation, and also due to the request for refund from their customers. And in terms of aviation, there is a drastic decline in passenger, started in early March, and by April, as the government banned commercial and private airlines to prevent the Ramadan exodus, it is even worse for aviation businesses. And in terms of transportation, the ride-hailing frequency already dropped by 80%, and even in some regions, motorcycle taxi service is prohibited. And in terms of transportation, the ride-hailing frequency dropped by 80%, and in some region, motorcycle taxi service is prohibited. However, for one of our unicorn, a super app, Gojek, despite their ride-hailing business is dropped, but they are still stable on their food delivery and merchandise delivery, known as GoFood and GoSend. In terms of food and beverage industry, most restaurant chains that employ 1,000 workers have been temporarily shut down due to the prohibition on dining in. However, home and cloud kitchen are becoming a popular alternative. And in terms of the retail, shopping malls are partially closed with only supermarket and pharmacy that allow to operate. That's why there is also a major decline on the retail. And in terms of fintech, one of that is affected is peer-to-peer lending. So it is said that peer-to-peer lending has declined with an increase in non-performing loan. And right now, the government is preparing a credit relaxation policy for multi-finance operators. Because in Indonesia, we have like some social gathering and also like religious gathering. So it makes it a bit difficult for us to start with when the government start to have the policy for partial lockdown. But I think we managed to survive because that's the only option to save everyone, right? Mm. And we use a lot of tools to keep our communication with others by video conferencing and some other tools as well. Most of the people will use GoFood or GrabFood services for food delivery order.
Any other startups or the SMEs are doing great?
So the first one is in terms of the health app and telemedicine. We have startup like ClickDoctor and HaloDoc that have double or even triple their number of users as people avoid visiting hospital and clinic. And what I'm happy about is because one of our Indonesian startup, Nusantik, they plan to produce 100,000 COVID-19 testing kits. And, you know, like the level of innovation in Indonesia is actually underestimated, but what happened right now, universities and tech companies contributing greatly to the country's fight against COVID-19. There are some initiatives from university and startup. The example is at University of Indonesia. With startup, they develop a ultraviolet-based disinfectant booth. And in Surabaya Institute of Technology, they cooperate with Airlangga University Hospital and startup to develop a disinfectant chamber that use ozone, as well as a robot that can be used to remotely communicate with patients and to monitor their condition. E-commerce and online marketplace such as Bukalapak, Tokopedia, both are two of our unicorn, and also one of the startup Blibli. They are seeing booming sales, especially in the category of healthcare, household, and food and beverage. And in addition, online grocery stores application like Happy Fresh are gaining more customers as well. And one that is rising as well is agricultural tech companies like Tiny Hub. People will buy the fruit and vegetable directly through the farmer by using this platform, the agriculture tech. That's why they experience like a booming as well.
How about the education part? There must be some startup companies doing the education sector. Then they are maybe because the students cannot go to school nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in education technology, it has seen a significant increase in users right after the government advised study from home. One of the example is the CEO of Cakap.com, one of the education platform in Indonesia. So he revealed that there is an increase of interest from students and employees since February when the government initiated the COVID-19 measures. And education technology startups such as Ruang Guru, Pintaria, and Pijar are being helped by the recent government launch of Kartu Prakerja, or in English it is translated as pre-employment card. Basically, it is an initiative by the government to help the unemployed or laid off worker to be able to access online learning for 4 months while receiving an allowance as well. I think there are two others. The first one is software as a service, and the second one is crowdfunding platform. So for software as a service or SaaS, especially those that support working from home, like for example in Indonesia, the apps are Mekari and DataOn. They become popular because they provide human resource management platform that allow employee to record attendance and also to manage their employee online. And for the crowdfunding platform, they are seeing an increased donation for social cause. For example, providing personal protective equipment for medical professionals and providing meals for ride-hail drivers and other informal sector workers that are affected.
People cannot meet each other in person and they have to practice social distancing. And then now the many companies are actually talking about, oh, we have to go digital, 100% or fully digital, or they talk about the digital transformation, and they also talk about pivot, like change their company's direction. But still, as you said, the companies are not trying to hire the IT people because they cannot afford to hire them.
Well, I think most of the companies right now realize that digital transformation is not just nice to have, but it is a must to have. But what happened right now is people still wait and see how this COVID-19 gonna last. So they still postpone most of the initiative, but that's why I say that there is a pivot also in the recruitment business. Because right now, as you mentioned, it is true that a lot of companies freeze or postpone their hiring. But at the same time, now they are shifting to hire, let's say, a small software house or a freelancer, like a group of freelancer, not like a permanent or full-time worker, to be able to support their initiative. That's what I see happen a lot in Indonesia at the moment.
How about the digital like a payment?
They are doing very well, I would say, because digital payments such as OVO and GoPay are solution for transaction during the pandemic. And most are already integrated with e-commerce platform. That's why I believe that they experience a significant growth as well. My mom, that is a bit conservative right now, she's using OVO and GoPay. At the moment, she's 65 years old and she's not really tech savvy. So all her transaction is always done traditionally, like going to the supermarket and do groceries by herself and pay in cash or debit card or credit card. And she's more vulnerable to the disease, so she's kind of terrified to go outside. So now she starts learning how to use those apps on her mobile phone and start using GoPay and OVO because they can no longer use the traditional way. I'm like, wow, my mom can do that. And if my mom can do that, I believe that other elderly are also can do that.
As a CEO of a headhunter company, especially the specializing in IT, how are you handling this situation at the moment?
Well, as a recruitment agency, we are not an exception on this COVID-19. So yes, we get affected. For us, like our main priority is our employee. So we want to make sure that they are safe. And in terms of the business, then whether we like it or not, then we need to pivot. Because if before we serve mostly startup, but right now we are serving not only startup, but also those companies in other sector that are in needs of tech talents. And if before we only serve for full-time employment, right now we also help companies to get the freelancer and also to handle like their tech project as well. And also what we are really doing right now, we focus on the corporate social responsibility. So we do a lot of campaign basically to help those who lose their job to get an opportunity with our clients. And in June, we will have a speed hiring, again, basically to help those that lost their job to be able to get employment. But if the worst thing happen, then whether we like it or not, then we might temporarily freeze our business. The Indonesian government, like all government right now, continue to struggle with the enormity of the challenge. But there are a lot of bottom-up initiatives that show another side of the country's COVID-19 response. So I believe that Indonesia will confront the COVID-19 crisis with confidence together.
Your client companies, they must be suffering. What strategies do you think we have to consider to get over this COVID-19 pandemic?
We can always choose whether we will do defense or offense. But right now, while most of the companies are on their defense mode, for some companies that thrive, it's the best time to offense. What I mean by that, because especially in the recruitment industry for tech talent, what happens is there is always very difficult time to get the right tech talent because they are never available. But right now, there are so many tech talent that are available. So now it is actually the best time for hiring. That's why what we do, we are more like try to encourage our clients to see it from that perspective, because when times get better, those candidates, those technology talent, they are now available.
I mean, you want anything from government side?
Startup is heavily depend on investment from investor, from VC, or from angel investor. So basically, how to create a policy or to simplify the investment process so that it will be still and even more attractive to invest in startup in Indonesia during this COVID-19.
Ken, you are founder and CEO of your own company, but you also are mentor. So for the startup companies, so what would be your advice for the startup companies at the moment?
Eventually, the COVID-19 pandemic will end. And when it does, we need to be ready. So as a startup right now, we actually have the luxury of time, a time to think, while before when we are on the business, we always expected to get 10 times and 10x growth. So right now, we can step back and think about what will be the plan for next.
Thank you very much for your time today, Ken. So I hope that I can talk to you, hear your insight again next time.
Thank you.